All right, good morning. I want to start today with a little quote by Albert Einstein. He said, "There is a harmony in the cosmos which I, with my limited human mind, am able to recognize. Yet there are people who say there is no God. But what really makes me angry is that they quote me to support such views." Yeah, isn't that great? I love that. I love that. I thought that was fantastic. So today I'm going to talk about an idea that comes to us from the writings of Emma Curtis Hopkins. And Emma Curtis Hopkins is our teacher because she was Ernest Holmes' teacher. He was her last student. So we like to think that Emma gave Ernest the very best of her entire career of study. And so maybe there's more than one chief thought. I have often thought, on Earth we have to decide, is the world I live in a friendly place or not? So maybe we start with that today, that's the chief thought we get to look at. Is the world I live in a friendly place? Because if the world you live in is a friendly place, if you've come to that conclusion, then the universe around you, the world around you, people around you generally tend to show up and support that belief. But if by the same token you believe that the world I live in is an unfriendly place, and I need to always be on guard and always be watching out and protect myself and watch out for me, then that will also be your experience, because the principle here is that it's done unto you as you believe. Right? So in the Bible, in the New Testament, there are people who, now, so let me say, when I talk about the Bible, okay, just uncinch your belt for a moment, okay? Just relax, okay? When we talk about the Bible, when I talk about the Bible, I'm talking about it through a metaphysical lens. So everybody in the Bible is in you. The Jews are in you. Jonah and the whale is in you. Jesus is in you. The Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Egyptians, they're all in you. So I'm not slamming anybody. Okay? Good. Nobody pressed that button between services, did they? So there were some individuals who were waiting for the Messiah. These individuals shall remain nameless. They were waiting for someone who would save them from the oppression of the Romans. Jesus comes along, and they see that he is fierce. I mean, like, he's the man, right? He's got it going on. But the message he gives them is to love the Romans. That was difficult then. It's difficult today, isn't it? It's been difficult at every stage in between. Why? Because it's not what we want to hear. In the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha says, bless your enemy, for he allows you to grow. And we just humanly don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to bless our enemy. We want to squash our enemy or push our enemy out of the way or, annihilate them with words. But we don't want to look at it like they're here for me to grow. And the science of mind says, it's all for your growth. All of it. Everybody who comes in. I know we love the people who agree with us, who think like us, who are on our side of the fence or whatever that is. We love those people, but there's not a lot of growth with them, is there? Because they already agree with you. They already like you, right? Where does the growth come? Oh, the growth comes in from those people who force us to grow, to open our hearts, to look beyond appearances, which is what New Thought is all about. Looking beyond appearances. If we look at the kingdom of our thoughts, there is a part of, I suspect, each of us that's looking for a way out from some external condition. Right? But the deliverer is standing in the midst of you, in the midst of me, telling us the way out. So in A Course in Miracles, there's a little teaching that says, my mind holds only what I think with God. Isn't that fantastic? My mind holds only what I think with God. And then I think, that's not my mind. My mind holds a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to sift through. In the Old Testament, one of my favorite guys, Job, says, "Is not my help in me?" The help that we seek is within us. All right, so way back then, even Job knew this. So within us, and this is the thing from Emma, there is a thought, one thought, that if we heed it, it will lift us up out of any ill circumstance or wrong situation. It's like Einstein said, I want to know God's thoughts. All the rest are details. All right? There is a God thought within each of us, which if we were in possession of, it would fill our mind, and if we held on to it really tight, and kept repeating it to ourselves and thinking it to ourselves and saying it out loud, it would in fact lift us up above whatever circumstance or condition we find ourselves in. I know, it's the most common thing in the world to think that something outside of us, when added to us, will make all the difference, don't we? I mean, that's the world we live in, right? Oh, you need this, and if you get this, you'll be absolutely fine. You know, and it starts really young. My opinion is this starts very, very young. You know, before you go to school, you can't wait to be one of the big kids and be in school. And when you're in school, you can't wait to be really big, like when you're a senior, because then you have the power, right? When you're a senior in high school. And then when you're a senior in high school, you can't wait till you get to go to college. You know, and then when you go to college, you can't wait to graduate from college, because then your life is really going to start. And when you graduate from college, you can't wait to get a car, because that's really where your freedom's going to be. And when you get a car, you can't wait till you get a big job, because then when you get a big job, then you're going to have a really great life. And when you have that job, you can't wait till you get another job. And it just goes on and on and on. Mr. Spock addresses this in Star Trek. Spock says, after a time, you may find that having is not so pleasing a thing after all as the wanting. It is not logical, but it is often true. You know? And I think what that points to is that this mistaken belief that something outside of us is going to make the difference, when what will actually make the difference is something that is inside of us. And what Emma says is that there is a chief thought. There is a big spiritual truth that will be revealed to you if you will close your eyes, sit down, shut up, and ask. You know, so for me, when I say, God, show me, what's this truth? God, show me this truth. God, show me this truth. God, show me this truth. What I get is, will you just shut up for a minute and give me room to talk? Right? Like, you know, if my mind is going so much, and I just keep thinking the same stuff I've always heard and always said, I'm never going to have room for anything new to come in. Right? But if we listen to this thought and let it have its way with us, which I think we're not so good at. Why? Because, well, you know, the truth is that we have all of the power of the kingdom of our thoughts, right? And Emma says we could actually work miracles if we let the one thought have full sway over all our other thoughts. So I understand we live in a world that is bombarding us with information constantly. More information than we ever wanted to know. You know, if you go online and you like want a recipe for something, right? Just a recipe. You know, 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, stick of butter, and an egg. But a recipe, something really simple. And you put that in, what comes at you? 100 million recipes, right? It's like, oh my God, it's too much. It's too much. I just wanted to know if there was baking soda in this or not. It's too much. Every thought we think has an I am, right? Every thought we think has an I am. And so if you let the one have the one key thought have reign over your mind. Because we're all doing this to some extent. Some people go through life and they just say, oh, I'm so jealous of this person. I'm so jealous of that person. Oh, I'm jealous of their relationship. I'm jealous of their career. I'm jealous of their house. I'm jealous. I envy. Or people go through and they say, you know, I'm successful. I'm fulfilled. I'm joyful. I'm happy. I'm surrounded by love. The greatest thought, Emma says, is your oldest thought. It existed within you from the very beginning. It's with you all through lifetimes, and it's with you forevermore. So the power of truth exists within you right now. You can't kill it, but you can hide it. We say, well, why does God let us do that? Why does God let us hide this power of truth? If it's so important, if it's so valuable, if it is so potentially life-changing, why does God let us hide it? Because you have free will, because you have choice, and you can wake up when you want, or you can stay asleep as long as you want. What's the highest thought within you? There is a high spiritual truth within you, perhaps not the same for everybody. And will you let your highest thought have freedom? Will you let it have full sway in your consciousness? And if so, you will rise free in God. You will rise above whatever circumstance or condition you are faced with. So if you're looking for a job, or you want a better job, or if you want in a relationship or out of a relationship, or it's something with your health or something with your money, there is a spiritual truth which, when touched by you and focused upon and repeated and repeated and repeated by you, it will in fact lift you up. You know, I understand that we all think that an improved human experience is what will satisfy us, but like Spock says, no, not so much. Because we've all tried that, right? We've all tried that. You know, and I think we'll always hunger and thirst for something until we let that highest idea really fill our mind, really fill our hearts. It's the principle that is never, ever absent. Just because we're not aware of it doesn't mean that the principle isn't right here, right where we are. So if we could have access to that thought, and we all can. This is your homework for this week. You go home and sometime you sit down for 5 minutes, close your eyes and say, God, what is the highest spiritual truth I need to know? The highest spiritual truth I need to know, that if I really knew it, I mean knew it, like you know when you know something and you cannot be talked out of it, that kind of know it, that thought would set me free. That's the one you want. See, because the satisfaction of living is yours when the highest idea flows from you, you know, like living waters that I've talked about recently. I understand we live in a world where there's so much activity. Can I keep silent, listen, and let God be God by means of me and reveal to me what I need to know? Now, Jesus, one of the highest teachings that he gave was, I and the Father are one. He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. But you know, he didn't just happen upon that. I'm certain that he did a lot of spiritual work to get to the point in consciousness where that could actually come forward from him. So I want to encourage us to allow your mind to be occupied by one perfect idea. There's something, and let this one perfect idea reign over all your other thoughts. I know, we think, who am I to have this thought? Who are you not to? You are an expression of God. There is as much God in you as there is in anyone, anywhere. Really, we mean that. Because we say God is everywhere, equally present, even in you and me. You know, so in the New Testament, people refused the Messiah because they feared nothing good could come out of Galilee. Right? What good could come out of that? Now, so remember, that's all in us. That's all taking place in us. If you think you are not good enough to have the chief thought that will lift you up out of error, you're being like those people who said nothing good can come out of Galilee. Right? It's like, no, it's not here. It's not where I am. It's someplace else. So if we will focus on the one idea, it will lift us up. And Emma says that there are what she calls strange powers. Now remember, she was writing 125 years ago. Strange powers lying dormant within you will rise up. And she says, this is the mystery of godliness. That there is spiritual power within you, which when you strike that right chord, it will rise up within you. Because the truth is omnipotent, right? We believe this, that God is all-powerful. So in the midst of all stands the perfection of the divine. We can look at our life right now and say, oh my God, all these areas need to be fixed. All of these areas need healing. All of these things I want to see better and improved. And the teaching is that, yes, that may be so, but in the midst of all of that is the perfection of the divine. And will we individually cultivate the eyesight to see that, to see beyond appearances, to look through all the external evidence and say, you know, beyond this world, there is a world I want. There is a spiritual truth. All you dream desirable is in that redeeming word. Right? This God thought that waits within you will teach you all things. It reminds us where we came from, and it reminds us where we're headed. So Emma says, you have a wonderful kingdom of thoughts. Which one reigns now? So if you look at your life, there's something that you're thinking that kind of has charge over all of it. And so maybe it's good, maybe not. I'll end with something from Einstein again. He says that true religion is real living. Living with all one's soul, with all one's goodness and righteousness. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. I love that. I also love Einstein because he never wore socks. He thought they were a waste of time. Yeah. And so I just thought that's really practical. That's really, really practical. True religion is real living, living with all one's soul, with all one's goodness and righteousness, and without socks. Let's pray. So we turn our attention inward now for a moment to just remember that right here, right where we stand, this place is holy ground because the fullness, the allness of God is right where we are. And so recognizing that not only are we connected with God, but we're all connected with each other on the unseen side of life, I speak the word for us today that we stand open and willing to that one idea, that one spiritual truth, that chief thought, that already exists within us. We welcome it forward to fill our mind and emanate from our heart and be that principle that absolutely guides us. It reigns over all our other thinking. I know this thought heals us. It lifts us up. It makes us more of who we truly are meant to be. Because I know for each and every one of us that in God there is no limitation. There's no problem, no difficulty that's too big. God can absolutely handle it. And I'm certain for each and every one of us that one with God is a majority. So I accept for each and every one of us perfect healing right now, whether it's in our body or our relationships or our finances, our creative expression. I know that it's all available and we say yes to it. So we include in our prayer today our family members and our friends and loved ones. We see them in our mind's eye and we wrap our spiritual arms around them. And we know that right where they are, God is fully present right there. Healing, lifting, revealing itself as peace, as all needs met. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world around us. So all those circumstances that tend to pull at our attention again and again, we're relying on a spiritual truth that is beyond all appearances. We're remembering that the source of all good exists within each and every one of us. And so we turn to that now. We bless our church. We bless all churches everywhere. Synagogues and temples and mosques and ashrams and all centers where people gather, seeking a greater understanding, a greater peace, a greater love. And so I know we are blessed by being together today, that everybody gets to be healed. Everybody gets to be raised up. And so with a full heart, I give thanks that this is so. I release this word, and so it is. Together we all say, Amen.